Hey guys, I'm Ankita. Welcome to Mastering Organic Chemistry with Ankita. Today we are going to be learning a little more about the naming of cyclocompounds, and this is our Mastering Organic Chemistry in just 90 days course. So let's get started with learning about the naming of cyclocompounds part 2. So let's get on with the video. So guys, these are a few questions that I had asked you to try by yourselves in the previous lecture so that we can discuss these questions in this very lecture. So let's start with the first question, guys. So what do we have here? We have a cyclohexene and we have a methyl group attached to it. This much we know via whatever we have learnt in the previous lecture. So now how to number this compound? Should we number it in the clockwise sense or in the anti-clockwise sense in order to give it the lowest set of locants? So guys, if we number it in the clockwise sense, we have to, before numbering, we have to remember this very rule, which is very important from the point of view of any unsaturated cyclocompound, that the double or triple bond always gets 1, 2 locant in the naming of cyclocompound. The double or triple bond will always get 1, 2 number in the naming of cyclocompound. Why, guys? You can see here that we could have given number 1 locant to this carbon and number 2 locant to this carbon. But we cannot do that because the double bond only has to get 1, 2 locant within itself in the cyclocompound naming. So either we can give 1 locant to this and 2 locant to this, or we have to give number 1 locant to this and number 2 locant to this carbon. But the double bond only has to get 1, 2 locant, that is for sure, guys. So what if we would have given number 1 locant to this carbon? What would happen then? If we would have named our carbon chain from this side and we would have gone clockwise, then this would have got 1 locant and this would have got number 6 locant. The methyl group would get number 6 locant. So, and in our anti-clockwise direction naming, the double bond is getting 1, 2 locant, but the methyl group is getting number 3 as the locant. So since 3 is less than 6, we'll go with our anti-clockwise numbering and not the clockwise numbering. Okay, guys? So what will the name of this compound be? It will be 3-methyl cyclohexene. That's the name of this compound, guys. And we are not mentioning cyclohex 1, 2 ene because it's understood that the double bond will get 1, 2 locant for sure. Now let's look at the second compound, guys. Again, we have a cyclohexene to which there are 2 methyl groups attached. So now the only decision we have to make is how to do our numbering. If we do our numbering from the anti-clockwise sense, guys, we are getting the locants as 1, 2, 2 and 3. Okay, guys? And if we are doing our numbering in the clockwise sense, we are getting the locants as 1, 1 and 6. So 1, 2 and 3, the first point of discontinuity when we are numbering from the anti-clockwise and clockwise sense is at this very carbon, which from the anti-clockwise sense is giving us number 2 locant and from the clockwise sense is giving us number 1 locant. So since number 1 locant is a lower locant, so according to the lowest set of locant rule, we'll start our numbering in the clockwise direction, and that's how we're going to number this compound in the clockwise direction. So the double bond is getting 1, 2 locant, that is the rule. But the methyl groups are getting number 1 and number 6 as the locants. So the name of this compound, guys, any guesses? 1, 6 dimethyl cyclohexene. That's the name of this compound, guys. That's absolutely right. Now let's look at the third compound, guys. What we have here is a cyclohexadiene sort of structure with a bromo group and a methyl group attached to this cyclohexadiene. So now the question is of numbering. The main question is of how to number this compound. So we can see that the methyl group and the bromo group are at identical positions with respect to each other. What I mean by this, guys, is that if the bromo group gets number 1 locant, the methyl group will get number 5 locant. And if the methyl group gets number 1 locant, the bromo group will get number 5 locant. Also, the position of double bonds with respect to the bromo and the methyl groups are identical. So in this, under these conditions, we'll have to judge, guys, that which out of the bromo and the methyl group do we give greater priority. So according to the alphabetical order decision, since B comes before M, we'll give bromo group greater priority over methyl group. So we'll start our numbering from the bromo group, and we get the bromo group as 1 locant and the methyl group gets number 5 locant, and the double bond of course here gets 1, 2 locant, and this one gets 4, 5 locant. So this double bond is getting 1, 2 locant, so it is satisfying the major rule in the naming of the cyclocompound. So now let's see how we'll name this very compound, guys. 1 bromo, 5 methyl, 1 bromo, 5 methyl, cyclohexa, 1, 4 diene. That's the name of this compound, guys. 1 bromo, 5 methyl, cyclohexa, 1, 4 diene. That's the name of this compound, guys. Why we are giving it 1, 4 diene? Because even though the double bond is getting 1, 2 locant here and 4, 5 locant here, but we only see the first carbon to which it is attached. So basically, while giving the numbering, we're only giving number 1 and number 4 as the locant to the double bonds present here. So that's how we have named this compound, guys. So now let's look at the next question. This is the next question in which we have 2 rings attached to each other, both of which have 1 double bond respectively. So what's going to be our principal carbon chain, guys, out of these? So we can see that this is a 6 carbon ring and this is a 4 carbon ring. So that's the hint, guys. So a 6 carbon ring will obviously be the principal carbon chain and the 4 carbon ring will be the substituent. That's the hint that we are going to use for naming this compound. Also, guys, the conditions are identical for both these rings. We can see that both have 1 double bond in them and both are rings with no substituent other than the double bond attached to them. So that's why we are going to take the cyclobutene part as the substituent, and the cyclohexene will be our principal carbon chain. Now again, the double bond will get 1, 2 locant. That is for sure. That is the rule. So now should we start our numbering from the anti-clockwise sense or the clockwise sense, guys? That's what we have to see. Should we start our numbering in this way that we get to the numbering in this sense or in this sense? So if we start our numbering in the clockwise sense, then we are getting the locants as 1, 2 is for the double bond only in the principal carbon chain. 1, 2 belongs to the double bond, and the substituent is at the third locant or the third carbon when we are numbering in the clockwise sense. And if we give our numbering in the anti-clockwise sense, we can see that the substituent here is getting 6th locant as the locant for the substituent. So since 3 is less than 6 in the lowest set of locant rule, we are going to go with that numbering, which is giving us the locant for the substituent as 3 and not 6. So we'll start our numbering in the clockwise sense, guys. So what the name of this compound will be? 3 cyclobutenyl, because cyclobutene part is the substituent. So we'll be calling it cyclobutenyl. That's how we name this compound. 3 cyclobutenyl. But also we have to keep in mind whether the double bond is at the free valent carbon or at the second carbon from the free valent carbon, or the locant of the double bond also has to be taken into accordance. So basically this is the free valent carbon because it is attached to the principal carbon chain. So therefore the double bond is getting number 2 locant here. So it is going to be 3, then open the bracket, cyclobut 2 enyl cyclohexene. This is how we are going to name this compound, guys. 3 cyclobut 2 enyl, then close the bracket, cyclohexene. So guys, in the same way we are going to name the second compound that we have here. So here what we are having? We are having 2 cyclohexene type of structures, but one of them has 2 double bonds while one has only 1 double bond here and also a chloro group attached. So then we have to again make the choice whether to make this our principal carbon chain or this. So we can see that 2 double bond, guys, will always get greater priority over 1 double bond and 1 normal substituent. So the 2 double bond principal carbon chain is what we are going to use here. So the cyclohexadiene part will be the principal carbon chain, and this part is going to be our substituent. So now how to start our numbering and where to start our numbering. If we go in the anti-clockwise direction, we can see that we'll give number 1 locant and number 3 locant to the double bonds. So it's going with the rule that 1, 2 locant has to be given to the double bond, because this double bond satisfies that rule. So 1 and 3 we give to the double bonds. We are getting here 1 locant here and 3 over here. Then what about the substituent here? What locant is that getting? It's getting the 6th locant. So 1, 3, 6 are the locants in the anti-clockwise direction. What about the clockwise direction, guys? We're getting 1, 3, 5. So we're going to go with the lowest set of locant rule, and we're going to go with the clockwise direction numbering because it's giving us a lower locant for the substituent. Therefore, now the substituent, we have to see how to name it. So this is our free valent carbon. This will obviously get number 1 locant. Then this will get number 2 locant and this will get number 3 locant. Why, guys? Why I did not give this kind of numbering and why I took this kind of numbering is because the chloro group is also on this side. So we'll have to give greater weightage, and we'll have to come to the double bond from this side to even include the chloro group in the lowest set of locant numbering. So now we can see this is our first locant, then this is second, this is third, this is fourth. So the chloro group is getting third locant, and then this double bond here is at the third carbon of the substituent. So now let's start with the naming of this compound, guys. It's going to be 5. Then open the bracket, write the name of the substituent. 3 chloro, cyclohex, 3 enyl. Then close the bracket, name of the substituent, we are done with it. Then cyclohexa 1, 3 diene. That's the name of this compound, guys. 5. Then open the bracket for the name of the substituent. 3 chloro, cyclohex, 3 enyl. Enyl, why the YL is coming? Because it's a substituent. Then close the bracket. Then cyclohexa 1, 3 diene. That's the name of this compound, guys. 5, 3 chloro, cyclohex, 3 enyl, cyclohexa 1, 3 diene. So guys, these type of questions are, you can say, the intermediate or the advanced level questions for the cyclocompound naming, and I'll ask you to name a few more compounds here. You can see this compound. For homework, I would suggest that you try this, naming this compound here, and also this compound here. You try naming it, and we'll discuss it in the next lecture. So guys, I hope that with the help of this video, you will be able to answer all the questions on the naming of cyclocompounds with ease and accuracy, and it has helped clear your concepts. So I'll be coming up with the next lecture shortly. Until then, keep practicing. Happy learning. Bye-bye.